Hey there! Welcome to another short series of Chow's Rambling with Insights. And maybe today we'll have some insights, maybe we'll have some rambling, but basically I am driving to give a course. There are a few platforms in Taiwan who know that I'm in Taiwan, so they want me to create a course for them, a little similar to the Udemy course I made that had, I forgot, 50, 80,000 students subscribed to it. And so it's pretty cool. It also gives me an opportunity to make new content, new slides, new case study videos, and all that stuff. So that will probably go into my Octalysis Prime community. And of course, a lot of it is a revenue share kind of model. So I based on what they do with other instructors, I feel like in my mind, I'm expecting making about $100,000-$200,000 from this engagement, which is pretty good considering it's work done in Taiwan for the Taiwanese audience. And what's kind of crazy is that there was another platform who reached out to me, and he really wanted me to do a course for them too. And they said, hey, look, everyone else just does like a rev share model with you, right? But we know you're valuable, so we will first guarantee $100,000. The moment you sign, you'll have that $100,000, and then afterwards, if the course does really well, you have even more upside from there. And that was, very interesting to me because, even if I do a full design project for a client that might take 3-4 months, that's like a $200,000 project, right? So running this course, $100,000 guaranteed is pretty cool. But they did say like, hey, what we want our course to go before everyone else's courses. And besides them, I have 2 others that already signed papers worth. So I'm like, hey, I think it's hard because the other ones are in motion. If we're discussing and signing and setting up the course, it's probably not realistic to have it go before everyone else. And he's like, well, what we really hope is you tell the other 2 that they should delay theirs to next year, and so we can run ours this year. And I'm like, oh yeah, that is probably not something I can do because I already signed with them, right? My loyalty is with them now. They are my client, and it's really not my position of a conflict of interest to say, hey, I'd like to delay my class with them. So he's like, okay, but this is our number 1 criteria. We want to be the first to push out your course. So if you can't agree to that, then unfortunately we don't reach an agreement. And so I decided that, we don't do it. So that's an extra $100,000 off the table for me, but that's okay. I think for me, my life principle is I want to be a person that I can respect. So no matter how much money I can make, if I can't respect myself, then I don't think it's worth it, right? And actually, this goes back to a story from 2012 where I was running a company, and there are some issues that happened with that company, and we actually had I kind of had an opportunity where I would get hugely benefited, but our investors will be screwed over. So basically, our competitors came to us and they said they wanted to acquire us, our biggest, most well-funded competitor. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds really cool. Let's discuss this since we're going through these issues. And some of the issues were because some of our competitors, not all of them, some of them were trying to screw us over, and that created issues. So then after some discussions, the competitor company, they said, hey, to be honest, we really just want your team, and we don't really want to pay so much money for your investors. So if you could just agree that we hire your entire team, we could give you an amazingly big package for everyone, and then we forget about those investors. And I told them, hey, there can never be a scenario that we are personally very well benefited, but our investors screwed over. That just can't happen. If you're gonna acquire us, then give us a proper offer. They're like, okay, sure, we respect that, and we're gonna talk to our board and see what we can do. At the end, they decided the investor baggage was too much, so that didn't go through, and that created other problems with the company, etc., etc. But I remember at the time I was writing a I wrote a blog post, still up there, but it was more like almost like a diary thing where I was writing that, hey, even if I was extremely successful, like I would have a big house, a big TV, a nice car, and all that nice stuff would be surrounding a piece of shit, and that piece of shit would be me. That would just not be worth it, right? And I if you look at my content, I rarely like swear, use cuss words, but I think I mean that literally. Like, I would just be a piece of shit. So I never call anyone else that. I've never done that in my life, I think. So yeah, that's just how I think. There was another opportunity in life where, I was invited to do a trip to Dubai, and these guys, they had a presentation and it was an invited presentation. I think it was a really good shot where they're pitching to a Dubai prince, and it's for a huge project that involves gamification, and they wanted me to be a big part of that. So like, yeah, that sounds really interesting. That sounds like a big deal. It could even be a career transforming kind of a deal. So I'm really excited. And then they said, all right, we figured out this is the date you can go to Dubai with us and impress this Dubai prince. And I'm like, okay, actually I can't do that because I'm already committed. I already promised to do a workshop. I think it was with Uber in San Francisco at the time. And the guy was like, no, see, you don't understand. This is like the biggest trip of your life. This is going to change your entire life. For the entire life, you don't have to worry about money anymore. You don't have to worry about money for your children, them going to college. And I'm like, well, I make enough money, so I'm not worried in general. And my kids, like, regardless, like they should be able to learn and grow and pay for their own things, right? Like, why would I assume that without my money they would be losers in life? So, and he's just like, no, see, why you lack vision, right? This, even your grandkids will be covered. And I'm like, sorry, I already had a previous commitment, and my former commitments always has a higher priority, and that's just my principles. So yeah, so for that date, I just couldn't do it. And I don't know, maybe I gave up a lot, who knows, like tens of millions of dollars, who knows. But like I said, I want to live life with my own principles, and I think it's important to be a person who can respect your life. And you could still, maybe you're the type, or not you, but someone's the type that's like, hey, I would only respect myself if I like steal everyone's money, right? I don't know. Like, I'm not saying like my moral standards is better than other people. What I'm trying to say is everyone should do things that are aligned to their ethical, moral standards, and that I think self-respect is worth so much money. It's worth more than money, basically. So if anyone would pay me a lot of money for me to think I'm trash and I don't respect myself, I don't think it's worth it. So and finally, I think to wrap up, like with my daughters, like I teach them this thing. Like they're twin daughters. They're turning 7 now. I have a son that's like a little over 1 year old, and Symphony and Harmony are their names, twins. So I tell them that, hey, obviously you need to keep improving yourselves, getting stronger and stronger and stronger, but the first thing you need to do is you need to be a good person, a good moral person. You need to be one of the good guys, right? And because if you become a bad guy and you become really strong, that's even worse, right? Because you're a strong bad guy, you create more damage to the world. It's better if you're a weak bad guy, then you don't do that much damage. So the first step is to be on the good side, right? Be a good guy. That's more important. And then once you're a good guy, you're on the good side, you're ethical and moral, then you start to level up, improve, and be the hero that could save the world. So, anyway, this is just some things that I've been through in my life, what I teach my kids. So hopefully some of it resonates with you or makes you think about things a bit differently. But yeah, if you have any thoughts and comments, and actually I'd love to learn if you have made some hard choices, maybe not as drastic as mine, maybe more, but if you've made some hard choices in your life, or you've given up something because of your principles or values, I'd love to learn about these stories, and maybe some of them are really cool. I want to share them too. If you're sharing them on social media, you're probably okay with being shared elsewhere too. But yeah, I'd love to see that. And that's all for today's Chow's Rambling with Insight. All right, I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.